maybe once every few weeks or once every few months. And B, I call it nipple, nipple, crotch, good night. It's a very simple routine. We do it over and over, and there's very little thrill or creativity. That's what happens when you're unbalanced in the three keys to passion: intimacy, thrill, and sensuality. Too much intimacy is the death of desire, as the brilliant Esther Perel says. Now, conversely, quickly I'll mention, some people are really strong in sensuality and thrill and very weak in intimacy. They can only really connect and relate through sexual contact or adventure, going on trips, having fun, going to nightclubs, but they find it really hard to be deep and emotionally connected and develop meaning and depth and connection and communication. And that's an unbalanced triangle as well.
Exceptional relationships are not the result of falling in love with the right person, which is what we're often told. In our society, there's a huge emphasis on who we choose to be with. And while that's extremely important, choosing the right person does not guarantee happiness. It takes much more than that. Think about your own life. How's your health? How are things in your job or your business going? It's likely that if you're an achiever and you're not doing well in any of these areas, you've held yourself accountable and taken action to improve the situation. As Tony says, action is the most important key to any success. According to Dr. Fraser, relationships work in the exact same way. If you're not happy or you're having challenges in your relationship and you're suffering, it's up to you to change it. Here she is with more on that.
I think a lot of us accept that when it comes to our health and our weight and our fitness, that it's up to us ultimately. And I think most of us accept it when it comes to business, that it's up to us to create the change, to solve the problem, to bring the solution to the team, not wait around for the team to figure it out. But does this fall apart for a lot of us when it comes to our love relationship? Tell you what, I can't tell you how many people over the years I've heard say something along these lines. If only my spouse was more romantic. Why doesn't he or she take me on dates anymore? Or they say, I guess the thrill's just gone. And it's just the way it is, right? I mean, it's what happens, right? That thrill doesn't last forever. Listen to the complete and utter lack of ownership, the passivity in those comments. The phrase I like to use is become passion, that it's up to each of us to become passion. And it dovetails beautifully with the energy we hopefully bring to the rest of our lives, fitness, business, etc. It's up to me to make my relationship great. It's up to my mind to decide I'm going to become the passion I am waiting for you to bring to me. So how about I step up and I create that change? Tony uses this beautiful term here. He uses the term being a generous lover. The term I use, which is basically identical in its meaning, is becoming an awakened lover. How can I awaken fully to my intimacy, thrill, and sensuality? How can I become passion? Actively bring these qualities to you and be an extraordinary lover for you. Lover is a verb. The most important letter in that word is the R at the end. Can I be a lover instead of waiting around to feel like I'm in love? What's the story we make up in our mind when we're in a rough patch in our relationship? Goodness knows real relationships are going to have multiple rough patches. Do we start to go into an escape clause story about how, well, if it doesn't get better, then maybe I'll look for something else? If it doesn't get better, maybe we're not meant to be with each other. Oh my goodness, I hate that phrase. Not meant to be. Create the meaning. Choose to be. Commit 100% to being an extraordinary lover. That's not easy. I never want to sound cavalier. Like anything else we want to master, mastering ultimate relationship is going to take time, energy, effort, and intentionality. And I have a little exercise I'd like to offer to everybody listening. 5 minutes a day or so, and it will start to change the quality of your love affair by having you become intentional. My sweetheart and I try to do this every morning. He's got his cup of elite Ethiopian special blend coffee, and I've got my lovely special blend tea, and we sit in the living room and we take a couple of minutes. I'll share with you actually our aspirations from this morning. I call this setting loving intentions. And we each quietly think, takes about a minute or so, what is an intention or aspiration I want to set about my relationship today? So this morning we did that and I said, okay, I'll go first. And I said, today I intend to be very careful with my voice and to be very careful about my voice sounding impatient when I'm in a rush. I want to really focus today on a kind, loving tone of voice. That was mine. Little backstory, I'm in the middle of a business launch right now, and it's a very, very, very busy time. And I get a little tired, and it is possible that Cheryl, the passion expert, gets a little crabby. And I have a very expressive voice. So that was my intention. Simple, sweet, to the point. My sweetheart went next, and to my delight, this is the one he came up with. He said, I want to create a special romantic event for my wife tonight. And that's what my intention is. Great. That was it. We go off for our days. We're not going to see each other for 10 hours. We come back and we have the rest of our day. And what we try to do, what I encourage you all to do, set an intention. Honestly, you can do this in 2 or 3 minutes. And at the end of the day, hopefully together, if that's possible, but you can do this on your own in the evening, review for a minute. A minute. How did I do on my intention today? So I would review quickly and say, was I impatient and snappy in my voice today, or did I catch it and use a warm tone? And he would review his. Make love intentional. If you want something great, it's not going to happen all by itself.
If you've ever been in a romantic relationship, you know that conflict, whether you like it or not, is a part of it. Human beings have conflict because we're different people with different opinions and different frames of reference. Conflict is inevitable, and according to Dr. Fraser, one of the most critical skills that couples can develop is to manage it well. In other words, it's not about if we mess up, but when, and what we can do about it. Here's Dr. Fraser again with some healthy and productive ways that you can approach conflict in your relationship when it arises.
So let me offer a couple of ideas for kind of mindful, loving, intentional ways to attempt to do a better job when we run into a difficult problem between the two of us. First, I'll talk about a way to start a difficult conversation. And most of us really suck at this, myself included, unless I bring intentionality and I catch myself before I bring up a difficult topic. I'm upset about something. I want to lodge a complaint about something. I'm triggered about something. How do I bring it up? Research indicates that the first 3 minutes of a discussion, same as business, the first 3 minutes of a discussion tend to predict the outcome of the discussion to about an 80% level. Meaning, if I phone the tech support that I'm having trouble with and I start, it's not working, rah, 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 I come in, hot and mean, generally the call doesn't go well. We know this. But why do we forget when it comes to love? So here's a very simple technique, not easy, but it's simple, on how to approach a difficult topic with skill. Set yourself up for a higher likelihood that the conversation can go okay. I'll use a real simple example that